Walk with me.
The king shall joy in thy strength, O Yahweh, and in thy salvation how greatly shall he rejoice. Thou hast given him his heart's desire, and hast not withholden the request of his lips, Selah. Thou preventest him with the blessings of goodness. Thou settest a crown of pure gold upon his head. He asked lice of thee, and thou givest it him, even length of days forever and ever. His glory is great in thy salvation. Honor and majesty hast thou laid upon him. For thou hast made him most blessed forever. Thou hast made him exceedingly glad with thy countenance. For the king trusteth in Yahweh, and through the mercy is the Most High. He shall not be moved. Thine hand shall find out all thine enemies. Thy right hand shall find out those that hate thee. Thou shalt make them as a fiery oven in the time of thine anger. The I am shall swallow them up in his wrath, and the fire shall devour them. Their fruit shalt thou destroy from the earth, and their seed from among the children of men. For they intended evil against thee. They imagined a mischievous device, which they are not able to perform. Therefore shalt thou make them turn their back when thou shalt make ready thine arrows upon thy strings against the face of them. Be thou exalted, O Yahuwah, in thine own strength. So will we sing and praise thy power. A Psalm of David, Psalms chapter 21. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts. And let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me and my seed forever, that we go not astray from henceforth and forevermore. A Psalm of David, Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Those of you that are on this platform and shared platforms, and we thank God for those of you that have been with us since the beginning. Those of you that have been with us thereafter and there's about, and we thank God for those of you who have just subscribed, and we thank God for those of you that are about to subscribe, calling those things that are not as though they are. Oh, praises to the Most High. Yes, He is good. Now we just left Jasher, the book of Jasher, chapter 25, and we learned how a foxite lived 438 years and he died. That was the last verse. Now, a foxite, that was one of the children of Noah. As we know, all of them were children of Noah. But we ended up in verse 26. We found out that Isaac had married Rebekah, a young lady. Yes, who have reached the flower of age, and according to their customs, yes, as in all the world. Some people probably were upset at this and said this was a bad book and threw it away. But to the most, what gives me a clue that this book could be true and is true is the fact that these things are still practiced today. Yes, it is. It's still practiced today. So, regardless of your opinion or someone have told you something, when nothing disagrees with God and what He says about Himself and what He tells us in His laws in that book, I canonize it. You can canonize your own books if you want to. You can canonize Rumpelstiltskin book. You can canonize whatever. You can be holy to you. I'm trying to give you the nonsense that people do. It's not, I don't care how much these long flowing robes all swallowed up you are in your belief system or your whatever you call made up stuff you done did. I don't care the Egyptian headdress you wear and all these different colorful things. Even John, in his book of the New Testament, said he looked at the whore. He looked at this woman all painted and she was in purple and red. Yeah, some things are going to catch your attention and you're going to think that it's holy. It doesn't matter. What is holy? What denoted a prophet? What noted a prophet was God said what He was going to do and He did it. And people understood. from Samuel to Elijah to Elisha and all the other prophets, people understood them to be a prophet because God used them mightily. And they knew without a shadow of a doubt, this man God is with. So therefore, canonize your own junk. But anyway, this book is true. Yes, it is true. Because I look at the doings in the earth, and I look at the laws and all these things, as you have well known and heard me say before, if you've been following me, that you have to look at your surroundings. You have to note things that are occurring. In Turkey, the Western world was appalled that this young lady at the same age as Rebecca married another man that had paid her family, not really paid. See, the Western world has a way of lying. They call them dowries or bride price. He gave a bride price for a 10-year-old girl. He had more than one wife, and she had those that would look after her. No, not only know even if she was even, reached her woman time, or that she become, fertile. But the fact is that was their culture. Regardless of how I feel and how my laws are in the country in which I live, I cannot go against that culture because that culture will not change for me. And even in different parts of the world, that culture is still so. Regardless of how you feel on the inside, you got to get out of this. You cannot enter the kingdom of the Most High because you have a certain mindset, a Western mindset. You have the whore's mindset in your head. You're not thinking. You're not thinking that God can cause fire to come down from heaven just by fire. But you say, oh, it must be a nuclear bomb. No. How can God sit up there and have a fire come down from heaven and then also have rocks? The man, he told him not to let no tools. God is holy. He don't want your tools upon him. He don't want nothing, man. He don't want you taking glory for nothing. This is how minute he has got with his sacrifices and all these things that he does. Your thoughts are not his thoughts. He said, my thoughts are higher than your thoughts. Now, you can take that and you can work with it. You can be negative or positive, how you want to. That's up to you. But me, I count God holy and I count him worthy. Yes. Now, chapter 26 in the book of Jasher. And in the 59th year of the life of Isaac, son of Abraham, Rebekah, his wife, was still barren in those days. She had no children. And Rebekah said unto Isaac, truly, I have found my husband. I would say husband instead of the word Lord. That thy mother Sarah was barren in the days of my father Abraham and thy father. My father Abraham, thy father, for she is his daughter through marriage. Prayed for her, and she conceived by him. See, that word Lord. They didn't say Lord back then. Not in that language. Give me a break. But either way, she conceived by him. Now, therefore, stand up and pray. She wasn't owned by Isaac. She wasn't owned by Abraham, but he was her husband. That gives you something to say when Paul said something about Sarah said, my Lord. She might have said my husband, but it doesn't sound like she said my Lord, because that word wasn't even her owner. She wasn't a slave. No. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I have no apologetics for that. But anyway, now therefore, stand up, pray thou also to God, and he will hear thy prayer. And remember us. She had great admiration for her older husband. I mean, she honored him even as a young lady. She honored him. And she wanted to be a mother because that was her purpose. Now, and Isaac answered his wife, Rebekah, or his Lord? No, she is his wife, and she was his husband. She was his wife, and he was her husband. Yes. Saying, Abraham has already prayed for me to God to multiply his seed. Now, you're going on the prayers of your daddy. Now, you're going to have to pray now, brother. Now, therefore, this barrenness must proceed to us from thee. And Rebekah said unto him, but arise now, thou, and pray. Now, even as a girl, maybe this might have been a year or two later. She might have been 12, 13 years old, but she knew that her purpose was to birth a great nation. This she knew because it had to be taught her. But the fact is that she wasn't dumb at all. Not dumb at all. Now, what happened was, she said, now, in verse 5, Rebekah said unto him, but arise now and thy also, and pray that the I am might hear thy prayer, and grant me children. Now, this girl was raised, or this young lady was raised this way. And Isaac hearkened to the words of his wife. He didn't just put her down because she was so young, or that he felt he ought to be. See, Isaac had never been married. He never been with a woman himself, two virgins together, according to this narrative. And his wife rose up and went to the land of Moriah. It sounds like Lord of the Rings, Moriah. To pray there. See, they get a lot of things out of this Bible. To pray there. And to seek the I am. When they had reached that place, Isaac stood up and prayed to the I am on account of his wife, because she was barren. See, he hearkened to his wife. He listened to her. Regardless of how low you think your wife is, or how inexperienced, even if you're a man just a few years older or whatever, you have great education. If she makes sense, she makes sense, period. And your pride would get in the way, and God knew what he was doing. He didn't get no woman that would say, well, you got to do all this for me because I'm the woman, and no, he didn't do all that stuff as these modern people. And Isaac was an honorable man. He didn't care. And Isaac said, oh, Tatan Zambi, God of heaven and earth, whose goodness and mercy fill the earth, thou who didst take my father from his father's house and from his birthplace, and didst bring him unto this land, and didst say unto him, to thy seed I will give the land, and thou didst promise him, and didst declare unto him, I will multiply thy seed as the star of heaven, and as the sand of the sea. Now may thy words be verified, which thou didst speak unto my father. Now, he had to rehearse these things back into the ears of the Most High. In verse 7, he says, thou art the I am, our God. Our eyes are toward thee to give us seed of men, as thou didst promise us. For thou art the I am, our God, and our eyes are directed toward thee only. And the I am heard the prayer of Isaac, the son of Abraham. And the I am was entreated. Now, you have to realize this man really, he was complete and upright before the Most High. Now, if the Bible says that Isaac was complete and he was upright as his father, Abraham was complete enough. This is what it would mean by perfect, complete. Nor he did those things which are right before the Most High. Of him and Rebekah, his wife, verse 9. And in about 7 months after the children struggled together within her, and it pained her greatly that she was wearied on account of them, she said to all the women who were in the land, did such a thing happen to you as it has to me? And they said unto her, no. Now, this woman she got a struggle in her womb. This young woman, I don't know how old she was when this has occurred, but the fact is she growed up quick. And the fact was she got these two twins. She got twins in her womb. And she asked people, other women, did such a thing happen to you as it happened to me? I mean, they're going to answer. The older women are going to answer her and tell her, because they honor her too, because news travel far when there are fewer people. Any news whatsoever, it travels. And people knew Abram. They knew what Abram been through. See, this is why I say what I say. And she said unto them, why am I alone in this among all the women that were upon the earth? And she went to the land, in other words, twins. I never heard of any twins. Even as the age that she was, she never heard of any twins. And she went to the land of Moriah to seek the Most High on account of this. And she went to them, to Shem and Eber. She went to Shem. Shem's still living. Shem's still living. And Eber, his son, to make inquiries of them in this matter. And that they should seek the I am in this thing respecting her. Anyway, here this young woman, I mean, she might have been in her teens. She might have still been, 11 or 12? Who knows? But the fact is, she went to the elders to understand this. This is what they knew back then. This was their culture. This was the way. And after that had befallen her, verse 12, and they all inquired of the I am concerning this matter, and they brought her word from the I am, and told her, 2 children are in thy womb, 2 nations shall arise from them, and one nation shall be stronger than the other, and the greater shall serve the younger. And when her days were to be delivered were completed, she knelt down, and behold, there were twins in her room, as the I am had spoken to her. Now, apparently God gave her enough favor that she didn't have to suffer much in this thing. I'm sure she had to suffer the pain of childbearing, yes, but not much. It's not even mentioned here. And the first came out all red over like a hairy garment. Red could mean bloody. Who knows? We don't know. We say ruddy, People say words, they play with words, and then next thing you know, you find out it ain't what they thought it was. Like a hairy garment, and all the people of the land called his name Esau, saying that this is one that was made complete from the womb. Now, and after that came his brother, and his hand took a hold of Esau's heel. Therefore they called his name Jacob. And Isaac, the son of Abraham, was 60-year-old when he begot them. Now, 60 years old. So that means she was in Isaac's house. He was 40, I was 20. So she had to be 30 years old at the time that she begot these children. God waited. He waited. So we don't know the time where they copulated. We don't know the time where things have happened. She might have just been in the house. She might have just been there being raised and taught of the women of the house or the servants and all those things that the women should know. And Isaac, and 20 years later, here she go. Here's the baby's coming. Okay, she got of age. So you hold your horses on that one. Maybe he just took her to preserve her to be his wife. And then later on they copulated and became, or however that happened. But either way, that she became a mother at 30, according to this narrative. Now, verse 17, and the boys grew up to their 15th year. To their 15th year. Now, at 15, if she was 30 when she had these babies, she was 45 now. And they came amongst the society of men. And Esau was designing and was a designing and deceitful man and an expert hunter in the field. And Jacob was a man complete and wise and dwelling in tents, feeding flocks and learning the instructions of the I am and the commands of his father and mother. In other words, here's Jacob. He wasn't a hunter, but yet he was a rugged man. I mean, there was nothing sissified about Jacob. There was nothing feminine about Jacob. He just didn't hunt. Okay? Let's get that in our thick heads for a minute. Now, he learned the instructions. Now, this is one big thing. He made it his point to understand and know the Most High and the commandments of his father and mother. In other words, he was just doing those things that were right before them. And Isaac and the children of his household dwelt with his father Abraham. Now, Abraham in the land of Canaan, they were still with Abram, as God had commanded them. Now, this is in cohesion with the book of Jubilees, as that is a few things different. And Ishmael, the son of Abraham, went with his children and all belonging to them, And they returned there to the land of Havilah, and they dwelt there. So Abraham got rid of all his children and everything, all his childrens. Yes, all his children. He got rid of all of them, that he might attend to his son of promise, even Isaac. Yes. Verse 20, and all the children of Abraham, concubines, went to dwell in the land of the east, for Abraham had sent them away from his son. I don't want y'all around him. This is a son of promise. He come from the wife of promise. Yes, from her womb was God's promise. Yes, and he had given them presents, and they went away. And Abraham gave all that he had to his son Isaac, even Isaac, and he also gave them all his treasures. Gave him all his treasures. He gave them to Isaac. Isaac knows, and he commanded him, saying, dost thou not know and understand that I am is God in heaven and in earth, and there is none other beside him? Now, this is the confidence of Abraham. There is no Esau beside him. There is no Jesus beside him. There is no Yahweh, no Yahuwah, no Husha, no nothing beside him. God is God alone, for no one can be omnipotent but God. No one can have that creativeness but God. He delegates authority. He delegates his powers. He delegates to those he have created to do things that he purposed in this earth. This is what God does. Now, you can get caught up in your devilish and mindset and all these things and looking at all these heathen and people that have taken God for to be just like the gods of Egypt, all kind of women and men. There is only one God. He is neither male nor female. But in a lot of this thing, male and female come from the auspices of men, masculine and feminine. A man can raise a child just as well as a woman. And a woman can do things a man can do. So what are you going to say about that? How much we have been deceived. Now, and all the children of Abraham, and verse 22, and he commanded him, saying, dost thou not know? He said, there is no other God beside him. He asked him a question. And it was he who took me from thy father's house and from my birthplace, and gave me all the delights upon the earth, who delivered me from the counsel of the wicked, for in him did I trust. Abraham been through the fire. Nimrod tried to burn him up. Didn't work. See, this faith of Abraham, there's only one God. He knew that. He knows there were angels. He knows there were entities that God have, appointed for certain things. He knows that. Enoch, Noah and all the rest have showed him what Enoch has said, and all the other. These things are already done. Now, they don't tell you this. If any book is wrong, it's got to be the book of Genesis in the 66 books. They've taken things out and manipulated them. When you got 3 books, Enoch, Jubilees, and Jasher, telling you, giving you, should I say, details of things. Then you go to that 66 book that was so-called translated by the heathen, left out a lot of things, condensed a lot of things, and tell you this is it. We've got some problems, man. Got some serious problems. We got to think. Just as if they can say there's 4 gospels and many of them differ from each other and contradict each other, why can't there be 4 books of beginnings? Okay, let's continue. And he brought me to this place, and he delivered me from Kasdim, Ur of the Chaldees, or that's what they say. It's Kasdim. And he said unto me, to thy seed will I give all these lands, and they shall inherit them. And when they keep my commandments, my statutes, and my judgment that I have commanded thee, which I shall command them. I think we got it here. Verse 24. You're looking at verse 24. These same statutes, commandments, judgments, and ordinances was here. They're also practiced in heaven amongst the angels before the Most High, including the Passover, including the Sabbath day. What you got to say? Verse 25. Now therefore, my son, hearken to my voice and keep the commandments of the I am thy God, which I command thee. Do not turn from the right way, neither to the right nor to the left, in order that it might be well with thee and thy children after thee forever. Now he's telling Isaac this because he's learned the same thing. Isaac. Because he knows there's life in obeying the commandments, statutes, ordinances, and commandments of the Most High, even his laws. And remember and wonder, verse 26, wonderful works of the I am. In other words, always remember how good God is. And his kindness that he has shown toward us in having delivered us from the hands of our enemies. And the I am our God caused them to fall into our hands. And now therefore keep all that I have commanded thee, and turn not away from the commandments of thy God, and serve none beside him, in order that it might be well with thee and thy seed after thee. In other words, teach your children, brother. Teach your children, son. Teach your children. Teach your wife to teach your children. Teach, teach, teach. It don't have to be with, this is the spirit, no. What the commandments say first. The first thing a child should understand is commandments, statutes, ordinances, and the laws of the Most High. These are the things that a child should learn. All that other stuff is just put it aside. But these are the things you hear people talk about. Oh, you ought to be good. How you going to be good? You ought to love. How do you love? What measure do you have of what is love? Only the laws, statutes, commandments, and ordinances of the Most High tell us what love is. It is the measure by which we shall be judged in the end day. Because love does generate kindness, gentleness, meekness, temperance. Because God does not favor such things that is not of the law. God is love. How is God is love when you say the law is messed up? He's the one that issued the law. How can you say God is not love? You contradict yourself. The law is the measure of love. You have the attitude of love, and then you have the attributes of love. These come from the law because we know what we love, whom we love is love. So you say, well, why is the law so blurry? No, why are you so bloody? You allow the wicked to live in that he can murder and live the next day, and he could do anything to a child or a woman and still live the next day, or he could steal and not pay restitution, and even the government steal your own restitutions that they should be giving back to the person this person has committed the crime against, or paying his medical bills or whatever he have caused. Backwards is this country. Backwards is this world. Think, man. Think, woman. And teach thou thy children and thy seed. Teach your children. And Isaac answered his father and said unto him, that which my Lord has commanded, that I will do. That will I do. And I will not depart from the commands of the I am, and I will keep all that he commanded me. And Abram blessed his son Isaac and also his children. And Abraham taught Jacob the instructions of the I am and his ways. And with that, we're going to say, peace.
Walk with me.